Hi, today we're going to talk about New Kid by Jerry Craft. This is a graphic novel about 12-year-old Jordan Banks. He's from Washington Heights, where he lives with his parents, and he is transferring to Riverdale Academy Day School, and that's for a better learning opportunity, although he wishes he was going to art school. And he is struggling to find his place at RAD and fit in with a predominantly white community. Jordan does manage to navigate his way through his year, and he manages to help some friends solve problems that they're having and find his place in his group of friends. And that's really all we can ask for at middle school age, I think. So, this was a very good read. This book is recommended for 8 to 12-year-olds, grades 3 to 7. It's gender neutral book. I wouldn't recommend it for boys or girls, I don't think. And it's definitely for all readers. I could see where the reluctant reader could find this interesting and really dive deep into it. And then I could see where a more advanced reader could get a more in depth experience out of this book. If I personally had to recommend a time for a child to read this book, I think that whatever year they transition from elementary school to middle school, whether it be sixth or seventh or fifth to sixth, that would probably be the best year for them to read this. My daughter just went to middle school, and I think that a lot of the problems in this book are problems that she's facing in middle school right now. So I think that just knowing that she's not alone and that other kids are also facing these problems would be, a great book for her to have read before she went on her journey. My personal reflection on this book was kind of complex. This is the first graphic novel that I've ever read, so I was taking in a lot of information at one time. It was not only just the text, but also the intense visual that comes along with a graphic novel. I mean, I didn't know where to look or first or what was right or what was wrong. This book is jam packed with information. I think Jerry Craft writing about, young African American kids, I in ethnically diverse communities, I think that this is great because a lot of books don't really touch on that, and that's a huge issue in our communities these days. I mean, forever really, but and I think that when kids can see themselves in different books, different literature, different things, they're more likely to be able to relate to these kind of things. So it's more likely to draw their interest and maybe help them to want to read and to also show them that they're not the only ones facing these issues. There's unfortunately this goes on everywhere, and these are great ways to deal with them without turning to violence and hate and other negative reactions to these. I do also like that even though Jordan and his friends were the ones struggling with a problem, that he turned around and was able to help Alex solve her problem to get to the bottom of why she wore puppets on her hands. And I think that that showed that even though he's struggling, that doesn't mean that, somebody else wasn't struggling too and that he didn't have it in him to help that person. It showed that he was treating somebody how he wanted to be treated, and it showed a great friendship between him and Alex, even though he thought that he was going to be really annoyed. Well, he was really annoyed by her at first. So it was nice to see him giving as well. I love the question, how would children react? I always hope that they would get just as excited as I am about it, but I know that they don't show that kind of excitement for anything the way that I do. So I would hope that children would be excited to see different types of kids in this book, and I would hope that they were excited to see that other kids were going through some of the same things that they were going through. But I took a little poll from some 12-year-olds about this book, and they were actually all really excited. They said that it was a really great book and that they really enjoyed reading it, and that the graphics in this book were better than a lot of graphic novels that they've ever read. So I did have a little insight from them, but they were not half as excited as I was to actually read the book and understand the concepts and the actual storyline of the book.